ratings. Now we want to focus on those quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, Stephen A. will be very pleased, received the best rating, a 96, while Cam and Tom Brady are tied for the second spot with a 94, followed by Big Ben at 4, Russell Wilson rounding out the top 5. Max, is Cam a top 3 quarterback in the NFL right now?
Well, the question is the top 1 quarterback, because a poll of his peers, of NFL players, said that they thought he was the best football player in the world. So I think it's still Aaron Rodgers until proven otherwise. I think if Cam would have jumped on that football, on that fumble, and somehow come back to win that game, that's a big if. That's assuming a lot. I don't think he would have won the game. But if he did, he'd already taken that crown from Rodgers. But he's clearly a Tier 1 quarterback, along with Rodgers, Brady. They got it right, more or less. You can quibble with the order. Breeze, Roethlisberger. I mean, these are the best. And Russell Wilson, which he actually played the best quarterback in the second half of last season. But Cam Newton was a one-man band last year. The best, I mean, think about the offense for a second. We know they have a great defense. The offense, the best receiver was the tight end, and Cam Newton, was the best running back. The quarterback was the best running back. That's why he led the league with 50 touchdowns, 6 more than the next best guy, who happened to be a guy called Tom Brady. And for those, Stephen A., who would say, well, look what happened in the Super Bowl. The Broncos dared him to pass, and he couldn't do it. Right, because the Broncos, in fact, had one of the greatest defenses of all time last year. But because it didn't result in one of the highest sack totals, because the game is played differently now, the manifestation of their greatness on defense was actually their secondary. So, yes, if one of the greatest pass defenses of all time dares you to throw, and without real weapons except your tight end, you can't beat them that way, does that mean you're not the best quarterback in the game? No. I still think it's Aaron Rodgers. I got no problem with Cam as high as 2, but certainly Tier 1.
Cam Newton is a Tier 2 quarterback. I said it 2 weeks ago. I said it a week ago. I'm going to say it again. Last year, he was the league MVP. Last year, he was a superstar all-around talent. He was a dual threat. Carolina used him effectively in play-action passing situations. The deep ball was relatively effective for him last year, more so than it had ever been. And if you're going by 1 year, I have no argument with you. But when I label a guy Tier 1, it's not just what you've done for me lately. It's what you have done. It is your body of work. And before last season, Cam Newton did not even belong in the same category of any of the people that we have mentioned. By the way, in terms of deep ball accuracy, adjusted completion percentage, and all of that stuff, where you get on Pro Football Focus and all of these other places, Ben Roethlisberger was actually more efficient than Cam Newton. Ben Roethlisberger's issue is durability. His issue is not what he can do when he's on a football field. So when we talk about Cam Newton, unless you want to give me 6 Tier 1 quarterbacks, I'm going to go with 4 automatically that I would put above Cam. I would put Aaron Rodgers. I would put Tom Brady. I would put Big Ben Roethlisberger ahead of Cam Newton. I would put Drew Brees ahead of Cam Newton. And I'm debating whether or not it would be Russell Wilson. Now, Cam is in that conversation.
That's Tier 1. You just named all of Tier 1.
What I said is, unless you're giving me 5 to 6 guys who belong in Tier 1.
Can we talk about Roethlisberger?
Hold on. Unless you're giving me 5 to 6 guys who are Tier 1, I'm separating like the top 3 or 4. I'm categorizing it from the standpoint that I don't believe that Cam Newton comes before Big Ben. I don't believe he comes before Drew Brees. I don't believe he comes before Brady or Aaron Rodgers. If you're saying that he belongs in Tier 1 with them because he would be the 5th, then that's different. I'm not putting him ahead of them.
Let's talk about Ben Roethlisberger.
They come before him. That's all I'm saying.
Let's talk about Ben Roethlisberger, who any given year you could argue he's actually the best when you consider who you want in the playoffs, et cetera, when he's on the field. I agree. I love Ben Roethlisberger, and he's actually, in a way, underrated because he maybe used to be overrated in the very beginning because he was on a good team. But anyway, he's playing behind a great offensive line. That offensive line is great. I mean, it was so great that Le'Veon Bell, who's the best running back in football, when he's on the field, goes down, and they hardly miss a beat because D'Angelo Williams, who's a good running back, but looks like a great one behind that offensive line. Antonio Brown, who the best argument could be made that he's the best wideout. I don't know, give Odell Beckham that offensive line, et cetera, and let's see what happens. The point is, you put Cam Newton behind that offensive line with Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell or D'Angelo Williams, you want to see what kind of numbers Cam puts up then, and then switch it and put Ben Roethlisberger on Carolina, where all he's got to throw to is a tight end. Now he has Kelvin Benjamin back, yes, but last year, all he had to throw to was a tight end. And you tell me how many touchdowns he's going to score. So they're doing this and rating Cam ahead of Roethlisberger, and Cam wins the MVP, even given the fact that Roethlisberger has more offensive weapons and plays behind a better offensive line. As much as I love Ben, Cam's better.
Listen. When it comes to being long-winded, you even put me to shame.
Not
so
true.
I give you that. Yes, it is. It's absolutely.
When it comes to being long-winded, you are the undisputed champ.
And not at all. Not at all. But here's what I'm going to say, and I'm going to close it out by saying this.
Funny.
Cam Newton has been in the league for 5 complete seasons. He's entering his 6th year. Only one time has he thrown for 4,000-plus yards. Only one time, I'm looking at him, has he completed better than 60% of his passes.
And how old is he?
Hold on.
How old is he?
Hold on, wait a minute. I said my definition of tier 1 is a body of work. I am in no way saying what Cam Newton won't be. I think he's going to be a superstar. What I am saying, and the difference between my position and yours is, you have to prove it to me more than one season before I give you that title.
Is a superstar. Use common sense. Look at his age. He's not going to get worse. He's getting better.
You don't know that. It's football.
Well, he's at least
you don't know that.
In his prime.
You don't know that. It's football.
I need to get to the bottom of this next subject. Coming up, Martavis Bryant came for Stephen A. on Twitter yesterday. Stephen A. has a response. Don't miss it.
First Take is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Liberty stands with you. And Sully, the untold story behind the miracle on the Hudson, in theaters September 9th.
Steelers suspended wideout Martavis Bryant responded to a First Take tweet from July 29th where Stephen A. was critical of the receiver, saying, "This is coming from someone who never put on a helmet. We'll see who gets the last laugh. It ain't over." And then Stephen A. responding, "My man, don't come at me like I'm against you. I'm for you, but you messed up and you may cost your team, period." And then Brian went back at our Stephen A. "One thing about me is I never cared about people who judge me based off my mistakes, especially someone who judges you and bash you every chance they get when you're making life changes. I have no respect for that dude." Stephen A., were you surprised Bryant came at you?
I was a bit surprised, very, very disappointed. But at the same time, I don't really care. Let me be very, very clear. I have, I will, and I will never stop getting on guys who are costing themselves money and blowing their careers because of drug use. It's that simple. I'm not talking about guys who are not costing themselves. Like I tell people all the time, I'm cool with Snoop Dogg, and we all know what Snoop Dogg will give new meaning to a green room now.
Yeah.
You never heard me say a word about him. Why? Because it's not costing him money. Martavis Bryant has been suspended for the year. He cost himself. And you can sit up there and say you don't care about me. Fine. It's okay. You care about Mike Tomlin? Care about your teammates? You care about those Pittsburgh Steelers fans? All of whom support you. This wasn't the first time he was suspended. That's why you're going for the year. Because you're a multiple-time offender. And once again, you make mistakes and you're pointing the finger at somebody else because they're highlighting the consequences and the ramifications of your actions. Instead of thinking about me coming at you, think about what you need to do to get yourself better. We were at the Steelers camp. Am I lying when I say some people were sitting up there looking at him like, why is he in California rehabilitating? Why isn't he somewhere else? Is that the place that you want to go to rehabilitate? These are questions that people have. And so I wish him nothing but the best. I am not rooting against Martavis Bryant. I hope to God that he gets his act together and he comes back on the field and he helps the Steelers win a championship. But this is on you, bro. This ain't on me.
Yeah, nothing to add there.
Yep. He says he's making changes, so hopefully that is the case. You're a Steelers fan. You want to see him on the field.
He said that last time.
Everyone here wishes Martavis Bryant well. I think it's fair to say everyone's rooting for him.
Yes, yes, yes. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Usher will be on the show.